Yeah, I
Um,
can like introduce myself
yeah, sure.
to,
I think that'd be great. Yeah.
to they do in the business meetings. Yeah, so I'm Josh. Let's see. Uh, I'm how old am I? I'm 26. I just turned 26 in May. I started playing Melee like growing up, and then I played in college, and uh, but I didn't really try and improve. I mostly just like organized tournaments and
hmm
like played the game
Yeah.
from like 2014 until 20 like 19. I was like a doc kid, and
hmm
so I got involved with like my UNC scene. That's where I met Graham.
Nice.
Um, yeah, and so I played in North Carolina for like 5 years, and then once I got a job, I was like, wow, I actually have time to improve, and so I'm going to try and do that. And I started trying to take the game a little more seriously and like learn some stuff and get better from like 2019 until like now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, that's
Nice.
me. Let's see. Yeah, I'm originally from NC. I studied like CS and comparative literature in school.
hmm
So
Cool.
that's what I do.
Well, I'm Blue Peep. Jeffrey, nice to meet you. Um, just to introduce myself to been playing Melee for 8 years. Been informally teaching for around two ish, maybe three. Just kind of helping people when I can and stuff like that. I've always played the game like competitively since like I first started, which was in like 2014.
Mm.
Um, Foxman, all the classic. Um, so we already messaged a bit about like your kind of plan for the day specifically, um, and stuff. But do you have any like is there like a matchup maybe that you want to start with or anything like that, or do you want to kind of raw dog it?
The VOD that I sent was particularly the Falcon
The
stuff. That
Falcon
was the
one.
one that I was like thinking of
Okay,
as of late. Yeah, but
cool. I'll
yeah,
pull that up
that's
right
about
now.
it.
Okay. Do you have any thoughts specifically on Falcon about maybe like things that you feel like you might lack in the matchup, or from these matches specifically that you feel like are, could be going wrong, and
Yeah,
things like that.
so I've like read the Falcon rules and whatnot in the Discord that you got
Oh, nice.
for um and I've tried to like use some of those. I think most recently I watched like before I went to this tournament, I watched the or like I had just been thinking about Falcon in general, and then I got to play Falcon in bracket. But
hmm
I watched like Sammy beat up Captain G at CDO 2016,
Yeah.
and I saw um like game one was on FD, and he like does a lot of like uh up throw into like tech chase
hmm
stuff, and I thought like wow, like I want to do that. It looks cool. I um and so I think what ended up happening though is that I uh or like my thoughts on these games in particular were that I wanted to work on um like the zone stuff, like zone like don't be in lag in zone three or zone one and
yeah.
like move in between two and three, etc. Uh and when I went back and watched this game, I think the biggest thing that stuck out to me was that I didn't really get many great conversions after I hit Falcon, and
Yeah.
that whenever I did start interactions in neutral, a lot of time it was just like raw grab or like up smash
hmm
or like stand in place up tilt and like don't really do anything afterwards. So I
Yeah.
think looking back, the thing I wanted to change after watching this was like, all right, I think I should probably be kind of exclusively doing moves that I know combo into reasonable things like running shine or drill or nair, as
hmm
opposed to like just like I don't think raw grab is like unless I like really know I'm with punishing something. I don't think it's
Yeah,
like reasonable and neutral, and I also don't think like random up smash is reasonable. So
yeah, that makes
um,
sense.
yeah, those are my
Um,
main thoughts.
uh-huh. Yeah, no, I mean, I think that all makes sense. I generally
Or like that's what I would
agree.
work on after having watched this if I was like not to have coaching. Like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I think I agree with all of that. I think Falcon specifically
Oh,
comboing him ends up
hello.
being what's up?
Wait, I think my audio cut out. Sorry, one
Okay.
second.
Yeah, let me know when.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm good. Sorry.
Hello? Okay. Yeah, I think with Falcon specifically, comboing him ends up being pretty awkward a lot of the time. So it's like well, he does end up dying off a lot of good combo starters. It's important to like be diligent with your move choice when you try and hit him right, because I think grab it like say grab it like 0%. You don't really get at like a real combo off of it, or like compared to like maybe up smashing him at 0%. Well, technically it'd be like 3%, which is when it starts knocking down. But like it's like the different types of moves you could get, or like getting a drill at 0%. Drill shine up smash. That's the that's the thing.
Yeah.
And
I
so
think yeah, another thing I noticed was that like part of my game plan that I had like written out on paper beforehand was
mhm,
that I wanted to focus on like pushing Falcon off stage
yeah,
as opposed to just like beating him up. And I think when I went back and watched this, I just tried to beat him up instead of pushing him off stage.
mhm,
And so moving forward, I would also like to try and like focus more on like getting a hit as a means to an end to like or like using wave shine as opposed to like doing up throw stuff.
yeah. Try and get him to the corner as much as possible. And no, I agree. I think that is the correct way to play against Falcon. He is every time you can. I mean, you want to have him end up either off stage or in the corner, because he'll end up dying, right?
Sure.
Um. But yeah, those are my thoughts. You want to just go into it? Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Also, I recently tried to learn Nair Shine Grab and
Hmm.
I missed it a couple times,
That's
which is not the
okay.
most important thing, but that's something.
Yeah, no, don't worry. Call. I think since this is my first time watching you play, I'm gonna spend a little bit just watching the match and not really talking to kind of collect my thoughts and see what I feel like over the course of the match is actually like try and get the hold on your play and what happened specifically and stuff, since it's my
Sure.
first time. So, and if you have thoughts, after watching however much we watch, don't be scared to share them and stuff.
Sure. That was up till
Yeah, that makes sense. Hmm. Yeah. Okay. I think I understand a little bit more watching. Okay. Well, before I start talking, do you have any thoughts after watching, as much as we watched, or pretty much the same as
um
before?
yeah, I mean the biggest thing I noticed is that I look pretty uncomfortable. And or this is like a problem I've had I think for ever since I started playing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like developed, but like after things like quote unquote go wrong, I think I do not have like after I watched this, I talked with Graham and was like, I think I want to just like learn how to play like a monkey and just like smash my face on the controller and just like do moves as fast as possible because when I get stuck in situations that I'm like, oh, I have made a mistake,
Hmm.
I feel as if I should be punished for it, even though that's obviously not the case. And so I like freeze up and like stop playing the game.
Yeah.
Um, and so again, I know that sounds like, or I know that's like does not sound. I'm recognizing that it doesn't make sense,
Hmm.
but I would like to try and uh, either just like nair shine, like spam aerials or some kind of like action or dash back or something out of like messing up in general because it happens a lot in neutral,
Hmm. That makes
especially versus
sense.
Falcon because he's like moving very quickly.
Yeah, yeah. So I think in, because I definitely I agree with what you said. Watching it, I felt like a lot of the times we maybe randomly got clipped or the positions ended up kind of awkward against Falcon, or maybe you're in like a defensive position. It felt like you're almost always kind of just either stood still or like up tilted in place and didn't have that much variance in the decisions you made out of those spots. Um, and I think in spots like those against Falcon specifically, since um, Falcon likes to jump a lot to hit you, or if he ends up really close to you, use his jab. I feel like I generally enjoy like either shielding or like dashing in those spots, like you said, dashing back in those spots. I think it's really good against Falcon because his aerials are relatively slow, right? He has 5 or 4 frame jump squat, and then his nair is like relatively slow. His stomp is really slow. His knee slow, and if he wants
Yeah,
to hit you with up air, he has to do late up air, right? So all these options that like hit you that like close to him end up being pretty slow. So the spots where you like end up in a scramble, dashing ends up being really good because Falcon, doesn't have that many good ground options to actually contest you. It's not like he has a Sheik
yeah,
forward tilt or like a Fox Shine, right?
yeah.
Um, so I definitely like using. I pretty much only use dashback and shield and scrambles because I think something that
Mm,
happens a lot is Shine ends up missing because not that big, relative, and Falcon jump goes over it sometimes, and jab hits it, and
right.
a bunch of awkward stuff happens, and then you get like clipped and grabbed and died, and it's like, wow, I cannot believe Captain Falcon's a character, right? Or,
Yeah,
and then jumping in scrambles, I think that with frame advantage, who can act first, however actionable someone is, ends up happening a lot is it's kind of ambiguous who's actually able to move first. And, a lot of the time, if Falcon is able to move like, before Fox, he can just like do like a short hop nair and then it'll end up clipping Fox during his jump. And, getting hit out of the air as Fox is like a death send. You're like, you're kind of fucked at that point, right?
yeah,
And so that's really why I don't like using jump or shine in scrambles. It's mostly just shield and dash. Those are things. Spot dodge is kind of different, but I think unless you're hard reading, um, like grab, you don't actually need to spot dodge that much because Falcon,
sure.
hitting your shield isn't that advantaged for him generally.
Yeah, I've seen
Um,
the Falcon rules about like prefer roll out of as opposed to spot dodge and shield.
yeah, nice. Um, I have a few more thoughts watching the game too. I feel like in neutral, uh, one of the big parts that makes like the Fox matchup hard for Falcon is that he, since he doesn't have that many good ground moves, he generally has to jump, to like do anything, right?
Hmm.
And it's detailed in the rules, but it's like since he has to jump and most of his arrows are slow, you can actually like shield on
React
reaction to
to
him jumping,
yeah.
right? And
I've
so
practiced that before.
nice, yeah, I saw you do it a few times in the match. But I think it's like really important to structure your entire gameplay around it, where it's like when
Okay.
you're playing neutral against the Falcon, it's like you don't really need to dash dance or not dash dance. Sorry, you don't need a wave dash to like reposition, right? You can use your dash dance because it leaves you
Sure.
open enough to shield and also can move you to the spot where you want to be. Because what ends up happening a lot is when you do like wave dashes, you just kind of you wave
Yeah,
dash
no.
down, and it's like, oh, I'm just gonna wave dash down because I want to set up a position, and the Falcon just does like some random jump aerial. It's like, oh, he short hop
And you're
knees, and
not actionable.
yeah, you're in lag, and it's like that's the only way he can hit you, theoretically, without doing like run up grab, right? And so it's like if you're letting him get hits like those, then it ends up being really bad because you don't want to give up like Falcon's best opening kind of haphazardly.
Yeah.
Um, and then I think there are other spots where you end up doing um, preemptive actions like uh, short hop fade back nairs or maybe up tilts and things like that where I feel like they're definitely meant to catch Falcon like jumping forward, but I think that there are ways that you could interact with that end up being more intentional. Like Bear ends up being more consistent interacting with like Nair across the screen, and
Mm.
you know obviously using dash effectively is a really good way, like running under Falcon when when you think he's gonna jump forward, or like fully outspacing him, fully drifting forward. Things like those I think are really good because it's ends up being pretty inconsistent if you try and directly interact with Falcon's jump a lot. And it kind of goes
Yeah.
back to the thing where it's like, you know, Falcon, that's his one opening, right? So if you try and interact with it in a way that's kind of inconsistent, what ends up happening is you like kind of roll the dice whenever Falcon does the jump and you get
Sure.
like a straight hit and he gets his knockdown that, could kill you, right?
Yeah.
Um and then it feels like this is something that I kind of want to talk about more as we watch, but there are a lot of spots where you are maybe doing an action and you have time to like observe what's happening on the screen without having to like make a decision immediately, but it feels like you kind of have decisions queued up, which is I like to say where it's like a good example of this is like wave dash up tilt. That's something that people see is like one whole decision, right? But
Yeah.
to me it's more that you wave dash and then you
The
look,
reaction point.
yeah, right, and then you decide to up tilt. And I think there's a lot
Sure.
of spots in this match where it feels like you didn't actually look what specifically was happening before making a decision, and so it ends up not being the most relevant, and could end up with maybe you dying or something of that nature, right?
Sure.
And I think those are pretty much all my thoughts from watching that. And then I think specifically once we start watching, we'll be able to cover a bit more and dive into like Falcon stuff instead of just
Yeah.
general stuff. Do you have any thoughts on the things I say? Do they make sense? Do they like resonate? Have you heard them before? Things like that.
Yeah, they make sense. I don't think I've really talked to anybody about the like in place aerials before,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I should probably practice doing stuff out of shield. Or I should probably practice like dash dancing and shielding and
Mm-hmm.
moving out of shield more comfortably.
Yeah,
Um,
that makes sense.
because I've like obviously know two shield, but I haven't really, and I feel comfortable like moving out of shield to do stuff, but like not in reaction to the things that Falcon is doing. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that makes sense.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
Okay. Cool. Let's start watching again. Uh, just to like kind of give example of kind of what I was talking about before, where it's like you put yourself in lag with the Falcon. I feel like it's totally possible that the Falcon just did like short hop stomp off the platform and landed right here, right? And it would have like kind of just hit the wave dash bag. And it's like,
Oh, really?
yeah, from the start, it wouldn't have hit you moving back. It would have hit you like when you started
Dropping.
the wave dash. Yeah. But I think you could have dashed there and been completely safe with absolutely no risk. And I think it's relatively unlikely that Falcon would like even make that decision in the first place. To be completely fair, but I think it's for the sake of driving a point, it's important to see every spot where things of that nature could have gone wrong, even if it's not like the most likely or maybe relevant. And same with these lasers, where I think it's good to laser Falcon at 0% because you get to unlock maybe like up smash, right? But
Yeah, that knocks down.
yeah, but if the Falcon, just decided to like nair forward when you did those lasers, you get naired out of the air and actually don't have that much defense to it. And at 0%, it's like, you know, I don't, you don't want to like start the combo, get his best combo started at literally zero. Um,
So what would you say is like your opening versus Falcon?
my opening against Falcon, I almost always just drop through the side platform and then either dash dance in place if I feel like they're gonna, throw themselves across the stage, or sometimes I like to dash towards center and then kind of play from there. Because what happens a lot of the time with Falcon is he could either, jump off platform and drift anywhere from like here, from like the center of the stage to like more towards the edge, or he could like drop through platform and start dash dancing from there. And I think, either deciding to dash dance here or maybe dashing forward, both interact pretty well with him jumping off the platform. And if he drops through the platform, I don't think you'll ever actually directly get hit unless he's willing to like run up grab off rip. Which if he
Sure.
is, then good for him. That's a pretty hard read.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think I generally like doing that against Falcon because it's like you're obviously available enough to shield since you're dashing, and the dash actions that you take, either dashing back here and dash dancing or dashing forward, both pretty effectively dodge him jumping.
Mm. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I probably also could have reacted to the fact that he rolled while I was rolling.
Yeah.
Like here, yeah. I should see that he's already rolled.
Honestly, it was actually he rolled pretty early into your roll. Maybe you could have told.
Hard to say.
Yeah, it's hard to say, but I definitely think that's a good point. I'm kind of surprised that after the nair hit that you rolled. I feel like even though you probably didn't mean to do a full hop nair in this position, and it's probably pretty awkward, this actually isn't like a disadvantageous position for you. It's like relatively not neutral, but it is like you do have like a real decision I think you could make here, especially
Like I
given
could also nair forward again.
yeah, it's like you could nair forward again, you could dash back, or you could, down tilt since you drifted back on the nair and you ended up spaced, right? Or you could like,
Yeah.
You could honestly like up smash, and up smash would beat Falcon dashing forward and doing this grab in place, and you have like this, and I think in positions like these where you end up at like this sort of frame advantage, where if you look at it, you're like slightly disadvantaged, but it's like Falcon doesn't have like fast enough things to actually like
Yeah,
kind of
nair doesn't
prevent
get out
that.
fast enough. Yeah.
Yeah. And he could run up grab, which is totally an option he could do. And it's a mix up, nonetheless. It's not like you win every interaction here. But, like, if he has one decision that hits you, and then none of his other decisions hit you, and you have, like, a wide variety, I think it generally ends up being pretty, like, favorable to play out.
Okay.
And kind of again, after this up tilt, you wave dash away, and I think you could replace a lot of the wave dashes with dash, and it kind of ends up doing the same thing.
Yeah. And you're more actionable, or you can shield.
Yeah, yeah. And it kind of happens here. This is kind of RNG because you got ADT'd, but it's like, you probably didn't need to like wave dash back forward tilt to hit Falcon moving forward. What if you just like kind of dashed back and could have just if you like truly read him like doing a dash forward aerial here, you could have just dashed back and then had the opportunity to like maybe read it and up smash it, or dash back grab it if you want to play reactively, right? But instead you kind of get locked in, which isn't that great.
Yeah.
Oh, this is good. I think this shine ends up being pretty bad, but once you wave dash away and like start dash dancing, you react to the nair, which I think is good. But I feel like when you kind of see Falcon do aerials like these, you should, the types of actions that you should do should probably be ones that end up getting more value, so you could like
drill or running shine.
Yeah, it's like you could running shine this nair if you want to be like the most reactive and safe, or you could just raw grab it if you really feel like you read the drift, or you could honestly up smash it if you feel like you have a read too. But I feel like nairing it ends up not actually being that good of value, and is actually pretty hard to react while doing, because you have to jump, and jump obviously takes a lot of time. So it's like it's way less reactive than the alternatives, which could be like running shine, right?
Yeah.
And then you see what ends up happening is it's like you have this advantage mix up, but what if it was just like a true combo?
Yeah. Sure, that makes sense. I could have just like shined him off stage and killed him.
Yeah.
And I also didn't mean to F throw.
Yeah, you definitely meant to up throw it, but I think after the F throw, it's kind of important to be able to judge like what the advantage would end up being. And I feel like watching it in real time, even I feel like you ended up going pretty fast after the forward throw, trying to nair him, and you still just got clipped by jump, right? And so it's like the thing where it's like in these scrambles against Falcon, jump just like you don't have moves that beat his directly. The only way Fox actually beats Falcon in the air is by being faster. But being faster is like, pretty inherently inconsistent just because, tons of things could happen. And so we kind of see that happening here where it's like, it ends up kind of even and you try and go fast and hit him with the nair and you just get clipped and then end up getting comboed, right?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, getting clipped here. I feel like when I think dashing back here is kind of just like you just get out if you dash back. There's not really much of a mix up.
Yeah.
I do think you were holding down to like CC the nair if you got 2 hits, but you ended up falling out. But I feel like you kind of have to react to things like that and just have the good defense because down tilt just
doesn't hit anything.
Yeah,
and like always jumping.
Yeah, like technically could hit him, but I don't think it's that likely. Given because he's jumping like you said, or like could be dashing, and it's like yeah. Oh, that was good. I like that you decided to stay grounded in this position and then overshoot a running shine and then, do a good job reacting while doing these actions and you see him end up in the air and just hit him out of it. It's good.
I tried to shine grab there, but it was too slow.
I think the jab reset's honestly pretty bad.
Yeah, because he's also really high percent.
Yeah, I feel like...
Probably up smash better.
Yeah, I mean, I think in this position specifically, since it was like a mistech and I assume you were reacting to it, you could just up tilt mistech and then like that's like one of your best like openings. It's like, oh, I get up tilt. Yeah. Or you could crouch tech chase, but I think I would probably just up tilt after this dash attack. Yeah. That was nice. Good. You missed your punish on this. You have to go really fast to actually hit that with bear.
Oh.
Yeah, it's hard. Oh, wow. I'm surprised you rolled. I feel like in this position with you, if you just like get up and shield, it's still like pretty hard for Falcon to like actually hit you, because I mean he just has to grab you, and like clearly this is like a weird scramble position where he could just run up and grab because he's late on the spot dodge, but I feel or on the tech chase, but I feel like because he's late on the tech chase, it's probably pretty reasonable to assume that like your opponent would realize that and decide to like play a mix up instead of just going for the true tech chase, right?
Sure. And
I feel like I'd be willing to like lean into them making that kind of decision and just end up shielding here. Because, I mean, if you shield here, he needs past you. You just get to, like, bear him, right? And you actually end up in, like, a decent position. But instead, you, like, roll towards him, which I think was kind of awkward since he, like, crossed you up. And then it's like, oh, man. And then once you're in the scramble, it's like, I guess I'll up tilt because I'm close to him. But it's like, again, yeah, it's like Falcon is pretty good at, like, avoiding these hits in, like, weird scrambles, which is why I like dashing and shielding a lot. Because it's like, sure, he can avoid the hits, but, like... he can't hit me if I make these kind of decisions.
Don't get punished. Yeah, the up tilts are pretty finicky.
Yeah, it's like you definitely meant to do wave dash up tilt, but it's like I don't know. It's just up tilt's kind of RNG. I don't like using up tilt that much against Falcon, even though it's like good. I don't think it should be that like used that often. I think there's like specific positions where it ends up being really good, but not that much of a general decision. Uh, that was good. Um, After the spare, I feel like cutting him off up here wasn't that good because it's like if you're gonna because you're reading like him doing double jump fast fall anyways,
Yeah.
and I feel like if you're going to be reading it anyways, I feel like it's best to like read it down here where you have the most leniency to actually hit it. Because if you like ran up, wave dash down, and then like dash attack the edge, you actually get to like cover
Sure.
this consistently. Whereas I feel like
Yeah.
hitting it with shine is like I think you had the correct read, but it's like it's shine. Shine's not that big, and you see even though you have the correct read, it doesn't hit. It's like pretty
Yeah.
inconsistent. And I feel like you could just use moves like dash attack to hit him lower down, and it actually like will always hit if you
If
have
I
the
see
read.
him dropping,
Yeah.
or if I see him like use his jump that early.
Yeah, it's like a mix up, right? Because, he could obviously double jump and then not fast fall and drift further and end up on stage, right? So it's like
Hmm.
still, it's not like it's, a, you win everything here. It's definitely a mix up. But I feel like if we're going to play the mix up, you kind of have to actually play it and hit all the things intentionally. So it's like, he fast falls and, drifts to ledge. You could dash attack it. He drifts towards stage. You stay on in like either bear or, something of that nature.
Hmm.
Um, or you could, hit him really high up if you have the time. Like if you, ran to ledge as fast as possible, not wave dashing, and then
Yeah.
like I don't know, maybe you could like I don't know something that could have hit him really high up, but you have to kind of play them that way. Up air, down to up air, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Spot dodge.
unfortunately, yeah, it's kind of the spot dodge thing. It's just
I should
like
probably just do shielding or rolling.
yeah, it's just like I think that the way that I feel about it to give like substance to these scrambles where it's like because I think all of them you're like oh what if Falcon grabs me and so you do that you do the thing that will avoid the grab but I truly think that in a lot of spots that it's like the way that the options are weighted is grab is actually like the least likely one. That's the one that they'll pick the least amount of the time. And if they do pick it, it'll generally be when they're trying to tech chase, right? And I mean, if they're tech chasing, it'll probably be like a true tech chase, so you don't have to worry about like defending against it, right? And so it's like obviously you should attempt to defend against grab some portion of the time, but I think that the way that your like decision making is weighted makes it where grab is the most likely thing where I feel like that's generally not the case.
Sure.
Most Falcons tend to, they're like, oh, I'm late. I'm going to jump into some sort of coverage or something like that. And that's why, doing things like shield and dash back end up being really good in these scrambles. And so it's like, I would see him like do that knee and I'd be like, oh, he can't hit, the true tech chase, so he'll probably do some sort of coverage. And then if you just
Yeah.
shielded the snare, you'd be actually in a pretty good position, You could shield
Sure.
grab it, shine the shield, whatever. Yeah, I feel like you could have probably shortened the ledge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Um, this snare is pretty bad. It's like the similar thing to the other time when you whiff
Yeah.
punish
Like I
Nair with
just can
Nair.
get more percentage from running shine or drilling.
Yeah, and I also feel like Nair isn't actually that likely to hit because it's like a lot of the time you have to do the Nair and then drift and then it like takes a actually good amount of time for the Nair to actually end up hitting. And Falcon obviously can like if he has time to dash, if it's not like a true whiff punish, you know, Nair will almost never hit if he has time to dash. You see
Yeah.
that he just completely dashes out of the way, and like in spots
think
like these, or
yeah.
what are you gonna say?
All right. Like I see myself. I was trying to do near shine grab, and I
Mm-hmm.
think it's just because I was practicing that this week, and I wasn't really thinking about uh, yeah, my goal here should just be to kill Falcon. Like it shouldn't be to like practice tech skill.
Well, I mean, I think there are times. it's more about being specific about like when you need to make the decisions, and I think it's like fine to do nair shot and grab in some spots, but I think in this spot specifically, it's just like, man, there's just no reason why I would be
Yeah.
nairing here, because it's like I see this, I see him do this bear, and it's like I don't think I can true whiff punish it, and so because of that, I'm gonna like play a mix up surrounding it, right? And you have to
Yeah.
play it like as if it's actually a mix up, because this nair actually within the mix up does not hit anything Falcon could do.
Yeah.
Falcon's not
The
gonna
running
like,
shine, like overshooting it, might hit him running back.
yeah, right. It's like you get to you see him do the spin. It's like, oh, I think he's gonna dash back, so you get to overshoot running shine. Oh, I accidentally turned on sound, which could be good. Or like after I'm doing the bear, it's like, oh, honestly, I think he's gonna do this bear and then dash back grab, which is a part of the mix up. So instead of dashing forward, you just drill in place, right? Like there
Yeah.
are definitely like there are more immediate options that that you have to deal with, and I don't think Nair does a good job like effectively playing it out. And
Yeah, I
this kind
agree.
of goes into the thing that I was talking about before, where it's like judging frame advantage and stuff, and it's like seeing how much time you actually have to do the thing. And generally, it's like after Falcon does this late bear, unless you were already intending on whiff punishing it, the moment that you saw him like double jump right here, then you don't actually get to punish that consistently, and so you have to play this as if it's a mix up. Uh,
Yeah.
and just that sucks,
I think
unfortunately.
I wanted to like, I think I recognized that as a spacing where I should shield stop like up air, and I was like, wait, I didn't do it. And I
I
was like, all
didn't
right,
do the thing.
time to
Yeah,
get out of here.
I understand. Oh, I feel like this is fine. The empty hop was kind of awkward. I think you could have maybe gotten. It could have ended up in like a weird position, especially since you're at such high percent.
Yeah.
But I think dashing away here is good. I like the wave dash down. It's actually hard to get hit in that spot. But then I feel like once you do the wave dash down, it's like I feel like you're pretty clearly, and you like dash back for the knee. I feel like you end up pretty clearly out of the way, but it doesn't seem like you feel that way when it's playing. So you like roll, and I
Yeah,
feel
I'm just not
like
as uncomfortable with this spacing.
yeah, but I feel like you know, given
Or
Falcon's threat range, it's like he cannot hit you any further than
I think I was
this.
trying to turn around and shield,
That makes
and I
sense if you
got
went to like
roll.
shield pivot.
Like I think I was trying to like dash back shield.
That would make a lot more sense because I totally felt like you had this position like down. Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to shield because I figured he would follow. Yeah, because I assumed that he would follow up with something after kneeing.
But I think that in this position, you don't like need to play it as if it's a mix-up because once he knees, knee is really slow and like totally confirmable, right? And so it's like if you
Yeah,
just dashed back, you could have
a
seen that he
little
had kneed
farther.
and like
Yeah,
just grabbed it or up smashed it,
sure.
like true whiff
Yeah,
punish. No, and so I don't think it was even necessary to shield. And I feel like you're set up enough for it to actually hit the whiff punish on it reasonably without it
yeah. I think
being
I
like a
was
a
not
big
confident in
read.
the spacing.
And I think that's pretty important to learn like the ranges when Falcon actually can hit you depending on the different actions you take, right? And that's kind of like what the zones are. The zones are just Falcon's threat ranges, right? And so
Yeah,
it's like given each zone, you have to kind of play effectively. And I feel like this ends up being pretty close to like zone 3 or whatever, where Falcon you're like inside of his like full drift forward aerial range, and
right.
I feel like it's
And I
important
dash
to
out
just
of it.
know what how these different ranges function and things like that.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think I tried to nair again forward, which again I should have probably. I guess on shield it's a little different. I that was definitely a nair forward. I just didn't
yeah,
have tilt.
yeah. I just don't think. I feel like the forward tilt was actually fine. It's actually like a good. It's a space forward tilt. He can't do much about it. It's just kind of the scramble thing where it's like you you don't always like have time to actually hit the Falcon if you jump. And so I
Yeah,
feel like dashing is just safer and lets you like it still leaves you available if he does do something that you like think he might
yeah,
do. Aw. You totally like saw him jump, but you have to like you just didn't make a decision. It kinda sucks.
should I just like bear there?
Um you could either like so at this point you can't tell which way he's double jumped, but you could tell that he
Right.
has double jumped. And so I think you could, you could read You could read him like just falling and up airing as fast as possible if you want to be like the least reactive. But if you want to be like a little bit more reactive, you could wait to confirm which way he's falling and then do like full hop rising bear, or
Yeah.
and that's like just like the most reactive, but you get like it's like the least committal. And then if you want to like hard read, then you can either like read him, landing on the platform or falling through and doing like short hop up air like around here, which ends up being a little bit less reactive, but obviously higher value. And so it's kind of like you want to weigh which one you want, where it's like, do you want to hit him really high up, and then kind of like catch him before he can drift, or do you want to like play as reactive as possible and kind of just get your percent and then maybe like play an advantaged scramble out, or do you want to like read him closer to the ground, once you can like maybe confirm more about his drift but can't actually tell if he's fast falling or not, if that makes sense. Sure. Oh man, that wave dash made it pretty awkward, and you had to like shield because you wave dashed into his threat range right here. It's like, oh man, this is awkward. But I feel like if you were just dash dancing, yeah, it's just if you're just dash dashing, you would have like not ended up in this awkward position. You could have like kept dashing forward and like gone under his nair, or like being able to dash back earlier and ended up avoiding it. Yeah, that's the same thing as before, where you like he does an aerial, you try and whiff punch it with nair.
Yeah, which is also like never. He has some. That wasn't actually like a reasonable thing to try and with punish either, because he had so much time to dash back.
Yeah, I don't think you went early enough to like make it end up being a whiff punish, and you also walked away, which made it like the further away you are, the more time it takes to hit him, right? So like,
yeah, I wanted to stay in like, I wanted to like, I think I have like unranked syndrome where I just expect my opponent to make stupid choices, and like I'm like going to walk into zone 3 and like pray that you just run at me with like a poorly spaced aerial and like shield grab it. But I should definitely like be giving them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I feel like it's like this is still like against it's because I don't think like the nair the Falcon did was like particularly good either. So it's like I feel like if you play this the way that you're playing it, where you're like walking and leaving yourself available, you have to like actually react well, right? And so it's like you were assuming that he isn't going to do like a drift forward aerial or something like that, or you're like maybe spacing for it. But it's like I feel like at this point you could have seen that he's jumping and been like, oh, I'm going to now like I'm going to dash back running shine, or like run up wave dash down or something, which run up wave dash down is risky. But like if you're going to be reading something specifically, obviously it's a decision to make. But like you could have like actually played like an interaction out, but then it felt like you kind of just reacted pretty late and then did like a nair, which didn't actually have that much of a chance of hitting.
Yeah, like, it's because I was expecting. I wasn't reacting to him jumping. I reacted to like the aerial because I expected him to run at me.
But I don't think you actually need to react to the aerial against Falcon a lot of the time, unless it's like
it's just the jump.
Unless it's knee, unless you're like intending to whiff punish it, then you don't really need to like see the aerial, because it's like knee and stomp or react or whiff punishable in reaction. But like
how slow is knee?
I think knee is frame 16. We could look. I have it bookmarked. Should be frame 16. Oh, with Captain Falcon, where's Falcon? Here it is. Knee is no, it's from 14. 14.
Okay.
Yeah, so it is like the entire react. It's like the reaction. Your reaction time is when it first comes out, pretty much. But then
cancel lag is 9.
Yeah, he has to go through lag, and then it's also like when he does knee, Falcon can't like you can't do like a rising knee, right? And so it's generally going to be late, and so I think it ends up being pretty clear that he could knee in this position because he hasn't done an action immediately out of his jump, and so then you get to like kind of prime for it based off that stomp that's 16. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how. And I feel like after the snare, you kind of did the thing again where you like walked away, maybe to create space or something, but then didn't like actually react that well. Because I feel like this is a spot where I'd be like, oh man, Falcon's jumping and I can't hit him like directly, but I totally know that I can still pressure him. And this is a spot where I would nair actually after seeing him jump, because it's like, you know, you if you do dash back nair and land your nair like around like here, he can't actually dash back that well to avoid it. It's this is like the spot where the nair ends up being good because he doesn't have like the correct tools to like avoid it effectively, right?
Sure.
But then I feel like you kind of give up the space, and then it ends up not being that advantageous of like a spot for you.
Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah, you react poorly to the spacing, and then you roll forward, which I think again isn't that good. It's like in these spots. Yeah, in these spots, it's like you probably could have reacted to the fact that he actually kneed during your grab and decided not to shield. But then after shielding, it's like you could just wave dash back. A lot of the time when with wave dash back, you know, you just end up far enough away to where if he does a jump, obviously you could shield and you won't get clipped. And then, you know, if he doesn't jump, you're generally fine. Oh, that was not great. I think the running shine was a good idea, but trying to chase him after the running shine just didn't make that much sense, because it's like you totally wouldn't have had time to like actually get to interact with them. And you kind of see that happen where you do like the running shine, you turn around and you try nair, and it's like, no, you don't.
Should I just wave dash down?
Yeah, I think wave dashing down is probably the best thing to do, because if you're unsure which side it's gonna hit on, wave dashing down lets you react and like actively punish it.
Yeah.
Do you know about that, where you wave dash down and then you could react and just like dash up smash or dash grab either
Yeah,
side?
because wave dash down is 13 frames, so reaction point is 15.
Yeah. Oh, it's not even about the reaction. Well, it is about the reaction, but it's the fact that you have the time to like actually confirm which way he goes and then get the combo.
I've seen that Sammy lesson with Billy.
Oh. Yeah. Even in like this scramble where you end up hitting the nair, I actually feel like it wasn't that intentional, or it wasn't like I had like, you know, or it didn't feel like you had like a hard read in the situation. It felt like you kind of just got clipped by Falcon and were like, I think I'll try nairing now, but like it totally could have gone like pretty poorly. If you like, you know, since you even drifted forward, if you like just shielded, you could have totally just like shield grabbed it, right?
Yeah. That shine did make sense.
Yeah.
He's at too high of a percent.
Yeah, at this percent, nair shine just doesn't combo, so you have to just, you know, nair dash and like tech chase.
Nair,
yeah. I think nair dash tech chase is probably or nair like dash attack, either one. Oh, too far.
Yeah, and I should not have spot dashed there. Shield.
Yeah,
I should have shielded. I would have died if he was better.
Yeah. You missed your wave shine up smash.
Yeah.
And
which I usually feel pretty comfortable about.
Yeah, you should be. I assume that you're generally pretty fine with wave shine up smashing. Sometimes you just mess it up. It is not easy.
I messed that one up too.
Yeah. I actually feel like this position that you end up in, this scramble is actually one of the scrambles where you get to shine. Because you end up point blank, and then.
That close.
Yeah, you end up point blank, and like the frame advantage is like pretty even, maybe your advantage, and it's like, you know, if it's your point blank, shine actually has a pretty good chance of hitting, and I don't think Falcon's that good at like, you know, you shine his shield and then he gets like a reversal off of it.
Can I do a move out of this animation?
No, you just have to fall to the ground. If you fall like off a platform with your back specifically, you get locked into an animation.
Down. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, you missed your jewel shine and you got red.
And I did not DI very well.
Yeah, it's okay. Oh man. Oh, again. You kind of do this nair that like you like realize something happened, but you didn't like do a good job judging how much time you actually had to interact with it. Because I feel
Yeah.
like, given when you were like saw, it's like you see this grab, and it's like after you see the grab during your wave dash back, and it's like, oh yeah, he totally whiffed grab, but it's like you don't actually have enough time to get there, so it's like pretty important to like maybe you know run up wave dash down because he's probably gonna defend himself, or maybe dash dance right here. But then you do this nair, and it's like now you're in this awkward position where you need to make a decision in lag where
Yeah.
he's like actionable. And so then what ends up happening is you do like this nair, and then you do this wave dash back that I don't really like, and then it ends up making the spacing awkward, and you get clipped by nair, which
Yeah.
did not end up being that bad, but could have been awkward for sure. Oh.
I think I'm just squeezing the triggers
That's
at all times.
funny. It happens. I think it's you have to know. It's just with you have to know when Falcon can and can't hit you, and kind of like because it's like you know obviously he can only really hit you with jump, right? And if he's not gonna hit you with jump, then why shield? Because if he isn't hitting you with jump, he's grabbing you, and so it's like if and since jump's reactable, you could be like, oh, he's jumping, I'll shield, and then if he's not, if he hasn't jumped and he's just dashing, you don't need to shield because
Yeah.
you could dash dance around grab or whatever you don't, but you definitely don't need to shield to like deal with grab because grab beats shield, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I feel like that wave dashing back made that pretty bad for you. It's like you could have seen him jumping
Your
and then
shield.
just dash back. No, not even shield. You could have
Oh.
dashed back, right? And then you get to whiff
Oh,
punish
okay.
this knee for free.
Sure.
But then you wave dash back, and you're like, oh, he need. I'll try and whiff punish it. But you were wave dashing back, and you couldn't like actually space the grab well.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that worked out for them jumping forward. Again, almost every time you like roll or do a defensive action, you end up tilting, and I feel like a lot of people. This guy tried to read it, but a lot of people end up reading it, and I feel like if you do things like dash or like even like be aggressive, like if you like rolled here and then just like instantly nared, like that's a part of
Yeah.
the mix up too, right? Because what if he
Sure.
tries and dash dance to waits for like a spot dodge or something? You nair, just hitting going forward totally hits it, or like dashing back totally avoids him trying to hit spot dodge or something, or lets you reset to neutral, etc., etc. But I just don't think up tilt ends up being a part of the decision tree that often. There are specific positions stuff for it for sure. Oh, that sucks.
I
You
just tilted my shield wrong, right?
this just you just get shield poked here a lot of the time. This is like your leg
My
because you did
tail?
neutral shield. Yeah, it's your tail and leg are the things that can get shield poked, and
Unfortunately.
you just got you even had neutral shield. You literally just got unlucky. So there's nothing you could like do about that other
Yeah,
than maybe
well,
not shield. But I
yeah.
don't know.
I probably had enough space to dash back a little bit.
I feel like here you just yeah, or there you definitely had a little more space to actually dash back. In this spot, I feel like you don't have to make a decision instantly, like
Sure.
because the way that ends up being is like Falcon's either since he messed up, it's pretty clear that like I feel like he can't get like a reasonable tech test on everything, and so like I spend a lot of my time, during this role and stuff looking, and I would have been like, I will stand still, and then by the time I decided to like make a decision, I would have been like, oh, he's jumping, and then you could have like played around that and stuff like actually rolling.
Yeah, I think it was a situation where like I didn't expect to get stomped, so I didn't just like mashing something,
Mm-hmm.
and probably should have just waited.
Yeah, but you just have to be like present in these moments. You can't like, just assume maybe something will happen or something or other. You have to like actually engage with each situation specifically. And here it's just like Falcon probably isn't gonna hit you, so why not spend a few more frames after this roll reacting to see if you actually need to make a decision or not. And you
Sure.
could have ended up not in this awkward position where you roll into a back air, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I did not shorten there either.
Yeah, running is very good. This is another position where you can just dash instead of rolling because if you look at it, he read during your roll, you could have reacted to the fact that he literally like he read tech in place with stomp, and he had no chance of ever hitting tech roll to the right. So you could just, you know, play. You could like either dash in or dash away or stand still or anything, but just like do something that isn't like a roll or a shield action that locks you like kind of into a decision. Because now, since you did the roll, look what happens. He had time to like actually get there, and now you're in the corner, and he's actionable first. And it's like, well, fuck. Now I actually do need the shield,
Yeah.
and then it ends up being pretty bad for you. Oh, oh, nice. You finally hit him, but then you were slightly off on your up smash spacing. Yeah, you ever knew that he would fall past the platform? You just misspaced. That's unlucky.
Yeah, I should have dashed farther.
Yeah, dashing further would have worked. And that sucks. You totally had him too. Oh.
How did I get placed up air?
Yeah, I think if you read him after like rolling and you see him knee, it's like, oh, a lot of Falcons just like to do dash up nair, and you could have just like buried in place, which I think is good.
Yeah.
Or like dash dance up smash or something like that. I think that would have been good.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh. But again, I think this is kind of the nair. You know, you see him jump and then you decide to nair, and it's like, no,
Yeah.
there's a mix up at hand. You kind of have to play it. Oh.
I think I got him jumping aerial. That's why the shine missed.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was doing dash around.
Yeah, you were totally fine. And then you like wave dash forward, which I feel like has been happening the whole time. I feel like the one of the biggest things that needs to change like pretty quickly is just that in these scramble positions where you want to like reposition in general, I think outside of not matchup specific, in every single matchup in the game ever, just replace these wave dashes with dash.
Dash. Yeah.
There's just no reason to be wave dashing, right?
Sure.
It's just slow and makes you vulnerable, and it's like, why not just dash? Maybe you don't have access to like an up tilt or something while dashing, but I would much rather, you know, not get hit and have the option
And
to
be able to
shield.
shield.
I can keep running, I can move, you know, you can actually just like play positions out.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not sure why I'm doing that.
Yeah, it's probably just habitual. It's just wave dashing is like, you know, you learn how to wave dash, and it's like, I'll wave dash, but
Yeah.
it's actually like a specific decision a lot of the time to wave dash,
Yeah.
instead of just like a movement decision. This has been happening a lot where you like kind of just dash attack. I think you meant to nair. I would assume in this position specifically you meant to nair.
Yeah.
But it's actually been happening like a lot where you just kind of dash attack like there. You see Falcon do something, or maybe he's in a spot and you dash attack, but I feel like, you know, percent wise it doesn't really make sense, and there's a lot better hits that you could actually end up getting, like you know, grab, running shine, up smash, etc., etc. Sometimes you do want to dash attack though. It's just,
but if he's not a knockdown.
Yeah, if he's not knocked down, especially, there's no reason to do it. And I think the game is just over here. Oh, you missed it. Unfortunate. Yeah. So I think after watching that, I think the biggest issues that really need to get fixed are, like, if you really hone in on the idea of like Falcon can only hit you like with run up grab, then it changes the way that you end up playing the matchup a lot. Because I feel like, you know, in these spots, it's like, you're like, oh man, Falcon could hit me, I need to defend. But if you look at it, it's like Falcon cannot hit you in any reactable way. So why like be scared or play defensive, right? You just have to like, you know, use your movement tools and dash or things of that nature that actually like are, you know, free enough to actively avoid things and not like, you know, leave you available. And I feel like also the big habit is wave dashing out of most movement. Like to start most of your movement patterns, you wave dash, which is not that great. And I feel like after this, it's like we didn't talk that much maybe about like Falcon game plan specifically, but I feel like to like get to the point where we get to like create like, or, you know, build up a foundational game plan against Falcon, we have to do like the baseline things like well. You have to like be able to function enough on the screen against the character to like reflect your skill enough to like be able to learn, the matchup. Because I feel like right now in these spots where you're um going air, you're like jumping when Falcon's like to whiff punish Falcon, or you're wave dashing, to such your movement patterns, or you're not playing positions as if Falcon has to jump to interact with you, or etc. I feel like a lot of those spots are core enough to the matchup to where we don't like get to end up seeing how the matchup really ends up playing out, because those spots are like the ones that end up being played the most. But I do feel like once those get fixed, you stop, you leave yourself actionable, you play around Falcon jump effectively, you play mix-ups on his landing using options like running shine, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Then we'll end up able to like dive into the matchup. Um, and I think the rules obviously are a good like baseline for this stuff. If you like you know focus your play around the rules specifically, it'll be a very good baseline, because those are obviously like the parts of the matchup that are consistently executable. The way that the rules are built are for, if you do only those things in the matchup, you will at least be functioning at a level where all of your decisions are reasonable.
Sure.
Obviously you could stray away from them. It's not like I'm a follow the rules all day every day. It's that's how I improve or whatever. But it's like that is like the baseline. Those are where all of your decisions stem from.
Mm.
And I think you could, I think if you watch the Sammy set, right, Sammy versus Captain G, with like those things in mind, you'll see the spots, and like compared to your play, you'll see the spots where, oh, he just stands still there because Falcon can, if he wants to hit him, he'd have to run up grab, and so he's leaving himself available. Or you'd see the spots where he, dashes back and then is actually available enough, or he sees the Falcon jump and he running shines to whiff punish not the aerial, but to hit the dash back, right, and things like that.
Yeah.
Um, does that all make sense? I know I just said a lot, but all the different things about what the core parts of the matchup and whatever things of that nature.
Yeah. I yeah, I just want to write it down for myself, but it sounds like, oh yeah, so like first it all makes sense for sure.
Yeah.
Um, I think like, or it sounds like if you had to boil it down though, it's like more about what's it called? Like not so much even decision making, so much as like subconscious decision making to like do certain, or like the biggest problem to start working on first would be like addressing a lot of the things that I'm default, like my like
Yeah, like
default
your
in the matchup
defaults. Yeah, I
of like
agree.
wave dashing, or like wave dashing out of moves, or like spot dodging in scrambles, or um yeah, just like, or like whiff punishing things with running shine instead of nair.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I totally. It's totally about like the defaults. You need your baseline like decision making to all be like at least geared towards like the character's like general decisions. And if they're not that, then it's pretty difficult to like dive into the various mix-ups that could happen, because they probably won't end up coming up that often because different parts are going wrong. Um, so yeah, I definitely agree about defaults, and I think by watching players like Sammy, or maybe even me or whatever, um, or Fiction, SFAT, Leffen, Cody, all your favorite top players, you'll find like that all of them follow like they're able to the spots where they shouldn't be doing whatever they generally tend not to do it, like their defaults all line up with Falcon's like character decisions that he could make. And that's honestly the biggest part, is playing each matchup in a way that reflects the character's capabilities. And yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I guess that was our wrap up. Didn't necessarily say it was, but yeah. I think we covered a good amount of stuff. And obviously, if you have questions or are confused about things, or want examples of different things being played out, I can obviously help. Um, don't be scared to message me or anything.
Yeah, for sure. I might follow up with you about specifics about some of the scramble slash default stuff, but I think that it mostly makes sense. I feel like I'm technically able to execute the things that I need to in order to like kill Captain Falcon, or like I know how to do them. I think it's more about the decision making than
I
it is about
agree.
execution.
I definitely feel like you're executionally capable of doing the things. You just have to put yourself in the winning positions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. Okay. Have a good rest of your day or a good
Cool.
weekend
Yeah.
at
Thanks for your
least.
time.
Yeah,
Talk
no
to you later.
problem. Okay, cool. Later.